My entire family is insane. They hide behind beautiful masks, putting on an act. My dad plays the loving father. My mom plays the gentle mother. My brother plays the refined gentleman. And me, the only misfit in this house, I have to play dumb and innocent just to survive. But after playing the part for over a decade, I've realized they're amateurs. I'm better at this game than any of them. And now, another lamb has come to the slaughter. My brother is getting married. The bride is an old acquaintance of mine, the same one who used to bully me. The day she moved in, I gave her a friendly warning. Don't marry into this family. You'll regret it. But she just smiled, blissfully happy, and shoved me away. Her eyes scanned me with contempt. What, are you scared of me? She patted my face with her bright red nails, and I flinched. My reaction seemed to please her. She leaned in and whispered in my ear, "Don't worry, your big sister will take good care of you from now on." She didn't see the flash of pity in my eyes, hidden behind my thick bangs. Once you walk through my family's door, you never walk back out. I was in my room, drawing, when I suddenly heard the sound of shattering glass from downstairs. I looked down from the top of the stairs and saw a dark figure rush past me. Slap. I heard my dad's voice, gentle yet restrained. My mom was cradled in his arms. My dad was blowing on her hand, the worry in his eyes almost overflowing. Nearby, Jessica stood with a tray. The cup had fallen and shattered all over the floor. Steam was still rising from the spilled tea. I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry." My brother heard the noise and rushed out of his study. His gaze swept past my new sister-in-law and landed on our mother's scalded fingers. Behind his gold-rimmed glasses, a flicker of murderous intent flashed in his eyes. Jessica just stood there, looking helplessly at my brother. The red handprint was starkly visible on her small face. My brother reached out and touched her cheek as if she were a precious treasure. His voice was incredibly gentle. "Does it hurt?" Seeing my brother, Jessica started complaining tearfully. "Alex, I didn't mean to. I just wanted to serve Mom some tea, but I didn't realize how hot it was. I couldn't hold it steady and accidentally burned her hand. I'm so sorry." My brother's expression darkened. He didn't say anything, but I felt the air around us grow colder. Jessica blinked, trying to defend herself, looking pitiful and innocent. But I knew she was up to no good. I had watched her pour the boiling water from the kitchen kettle directly into the cup without a moment's hesitation. She burned my mother on purpose. It was her way of asserting dominance over her new mother-in-law. But it made sense. Jessica, the little princess of her family, had never been crossed. How would she know how to respect her husband's mother? My dad's face was grim. He shot my brother a look, then carried my mom back to their room. Watching my mother leave, I remembered what I saw last night. My mom was giving my brother something. It was a box of condoms. I saw it. Through the crack in the door, I heard my mom's soft voice. "It's best if she's a virgin. If not, then skin her tonight." An image from when I was 5 flashed in my mind. My body trembled violently, and I couldn't stop shaking. That evening, I came home from school to find the house, usually brightly lit, completely dark for the first time. I called out for a long time, but no one answered. I fumbled my way to my dad's room on the first floor. As I got close to the door, I saw a sliver of light from inside. I peeked around the doorframe and saw something I could never have imagined. My dad, who had always been gentle and doting, now had a terrifying, horrific look on his face. The knife in his hand glinted menacingly in the bedroom light. Behind my dad on a long white table, I could see the edge of a white skirt. It was familiar, yet strange. It belonged to Mrs. Wong, our widowed neighbor. I pressed my lips together as hard as I could to keep from making a sound. The two faces inside looked less and less familiar. Just this morning, my mom had smilingly asked me to take some meat over to Mrs. Wong's house. Every time I went over, she would give me candy. Why? The smell of blood filled my nose. It stained my little white shoes. It was disgusting, blinding. I tried to back away, to get away from it. My back hit the wall, and I couldn't retreat any further. I wanted to run, to find my brother, but in the darkness, I knocked over a vase by the door. Oh no! I quickly tried to catch it. But it was too late. Crash! The hallway light flicked on. When I looked up, My mom's gentle voice seemed to hypnotize me. Daisy, you're not being a good girl. My voice trembled, but I forced myself to stay calm, stammering an explanation. Mom, I didn't see anything. Oh really? Then why are you shaking, Daisy? I pressed down on my hands, which were trembling like crazy. I shook my head, forcing a smile. I'm not, Mom. What's wrong? What happened? Just then, my dad came out, drawn by the noise. When he saw me, his gaze froze for a second, but he quickly regained his composure and gave me a gentle smile. The cold glint in his eyes, however, sent a chill down my spine. He coaxed me, Daisy, be a good girl. Don't tell anyone outside what you just saw, okay? Otherwise, Daddy will have to punish you. Remembering what I'd just seen, I had a pretty good idea of what that punishment would be. After that, I nodded fiercely and fled in terror, until I ran right into my brother, who was coming out of his study. He picked me up. He chuckled and asked, running so fast? In a hurry to get reincarnated? I quickly swallowed the words I was about to say. An uncontrollable suspicion formed in my mind. A faint, almost unnoticeable smile played on my brother's lips. What's wrong? What happened? Look at you, you're sweating all over. As he spoke, my brother took a tissue from his pocket and carefully wiped the sweat from my forehead. Tell your big brother. What did you just see? My brother's tone was coaxing. His expression was as gentle and refined as ever. In the past, I would have blurted everything out, but now, I couldn't. His tone was still the same, gentle and patient. But after what I had seen, I wasn't so sure anymore. Finally, one day when I came home from school, I accidentally found a hidden door in the house. I entered my dad's secret room and discovered their hidden secret. They were all putting on an act. My mom, who I always thought was gentle and elegant, would curse at the maids like a shrew when she thought I wasn't looking. Worse, she once called me a little bitch when I was serving my dad tea. When I soiled her dress, she locked me in a dark little room without a second thought. No food, no water for 7 days. And my dad, who had doted on me since I was little, would sneak into my room at night and stick a cold needle into my vein, making my whole body go numb with pain, keeping me awake all night. And my brother, who always seemed to do whatever I wanted, who couldn't stand to see me get hurt, let his girlfriend bully me. It drove me to the edge of depression. For a long time, I thought about killing myself. Later, my dear brother brought home a little white pug, all dirty, like it had been picked out of the trash. When he placed it in my arms, its eyes were filled with caution. Later, I washed it, and every day I would talk to it and keep it company. That little pug got me through those dark times. But one day, I came home from school and saw it with my own eyes. In my brother's bedroom, my little snowball was beaten to within an inch of its life. The fur I so carefully groomed every day was being peeled off, piece by piece, by my brother to make a butt cushion for his big German shepherd. Snowball was dismembered by my brother into 8 pieces. It died in my arms. That day was my 8th birthday. After that, I understood. To survive in this family, you have to hide the things you love. Otherwise, the moment they're discovered, they're destroyed. My mom pretends to be gentle. My dad pretends to be a loving father. My brother pretends to be refined. And me, if I want to survive in this house, I have to pretend to be obedient and dumb. My brother wanted to take the whole family on his honeymoon trip. Jessica was the first to object. No way, Alex. This is our honeymoon. Why would we bring your parents? Jessica pointed at me. And bringing your parents is one thing, but why is she coming too? My brother didn't say anything. Jessica's face fell. She turned her attention to me and said with a smile, Daisy, can you maybe talk to your parents and tell them you don't want to go? I looked at her with a confused, innocent expression. This wasn't up to me. When I didn't respond, Jessica got annoyed. Her eyes darted around, and a vicious glint appeared in them. She secretly moved behind me and from an angle my brother couldn't see, jabbed a needle into my back. A dense wave of pain made my skin crawl. It was a familiar stinging sensation. This was Jessica's favorite method of bullying me back in the day. A flicker of pain crossed my eyes. But I didn't dare make a sound. Jessica smiled triumphantly, yet her voice remained gentle. She was always good at putting on a mask. It felt like the needle had been coated in hot pepper sauce. The pain spread to my fingertips, which started to feel numb. I couldn't help but clutch the hem of my skirt. It hurt so much. I had no choice but to make up a flimsy lie. I looked up at my brother. His dark eyes were bottomless, cold. His gaze lingered on my hand for a moment before shifting away without a trace. I feigned surprise. Oh right, I just remembered, Alex. I have my art class tomorrow. I'm afraid I can't go on the trip with you all. My brother thought for a moment, then nodded. Jessica instantly lit up. Compared to her in-laws, it was much better if this Daisy didn't come. What an ugly freak. She had no idea how Alex could have such an ugly sister. But on the surface, Jessica put on a disappointed expression. Oh, is that so? What a shame. But your studies are important, Daisy. We'll just have to take you next time. Just then, my mom came downstairs, having changed her clothes. Hearing this, her eyes fell on my face, full of suspicion. Daisy, I don't remember you having a class tomorrow. I looked perfectly innocent. Mom, if you don't believe me, you can call my teacher and ask. My mom pulled out her phone to check, but my dad, who was coming down with his suitcase, stopped her. All right, honey, she wouldn't lie. Since that's the case, we'll just have to wait until next time. We're running late, let's get going. My mom nodded, looking a little regretful. Okay then. We'll have to wait. My parents hurried out. They quickly got in the car, looking like they were in a rush. At this, Jessica, standing next to him, shook my brother's arm with dissatisfaction. She was about to say something else, but my brother soothed her. My parents were already in the car, and Jessica still wanted to make a good impression on her mother-in-law, so she had no choice but to put on a smile and leave with my brother. The moment the door closed, a long-lost smile spread across my face. No one knew that I had a big surprise waiting for them. I went to my dad's secret base, the place where he kept the most beautiful things in the world. And my dad's secret was in here. On the black door was a tiny fingerprint scanner. It was all that separated me from those beautiful things. But how could that possibly stop me? I took a perfectly preserved finger out of my pocket. The second the fingerprint registered, the door opened. I took off my shoes. Walking inside, I was surrounded by a dazzling array of human skins. I had seen every one of these faces when they were still vibrant and alive. They were peeled from their owners in the prime of their youth, turned into flowers that would never wither. Each skin was preserved by my dad like a piece of art, displayed in neat rows, for my mom to pick and choose from. Such beautiful people, but so lifeless. They were most beautiful when they were alive, but now they were all gone. I couldn't help but touch my own cheek. The uneven, bumpy texture was rough under my fingers, not smooth at all. I turned, and my eyes fell on an exquisite tray. On it sat a sealed silver box. I quietly approached it. A black combination lock was on top. Looks like my dad is very cautious. The password is... A string of numbers suddenly flashed in my mind. Click. It opened. Of course. My dad can't live without my mom. I guessed right. The password was my mom's birthday. Inside were human skins, even more beautiful than the ones on display. There were skins from men and women in here. And aside from being our neighbors, the rest were all my dad's secret lovers. Some of them used to try to butter me up, but the moment they found out my status in the family, they discarded me without a second thought. Just as I was lost in thought, I heard a noise behind me. A withered old woman in a white dress came in through the back door, staring straight at me. Her eyes held an emotion I couldn't understand, but when I turned and saw her face, my pupils contracted violently. Mrs. Wong. It's you. Didn't Mrs. Wong die the year I turned 8? Ow. And why? Why does she look like this now? Wasn't she killed by my dad? My eyes scanned her. I realized that although her former beauty was gone, her golden pupils were unique to the Mrs. Wong who lived next door when I was a child. I asked, confused, Mrs. Wong, aren't you dead? 2 lines of tears streamed down Mrs. Wong's cheeks. Her once graceful figure was gone, replaced by a withered wooden frame, with only a sliver of life force keeping her going. Mrs. Wong limped towards me, and only then did I notice that her legs had been beaten out of shape. They were covered in gruesome scars. My gaze shifted lower, and I saw that Mrs. Wong was wearing extremely long iron chains. Not only that, but her waist and legs were also bound by thin chains. As Mrs. Wong walked closer, her aged voice revealed a shocking secret. A look of pain gradually filled my eyes. After years of being on guard, I couldn't help but ask, Mrs. Wong, how can you be sure that everything you're saying is true? At my words, a flash of grief crossed Mrs. Wong's withered face. Daisy, come with me. To find out the truth, I followed Mrs. Wong. The deeper we went, the colder and more sinister the air became. I was horrified. I never imagined my dad had a hidden basement. And it was 10 meters deep. What horrified me even more was, Mrs. Wong had been living here for over 10 years, and I had no idea. The dim candlelight cast eerie shadows on our faces. The entire basement was gloomy and terrifying. Mrs. Wong's expression didn't change. A huge cage appeared before us. Inside was a crystal coffin. And the person in the coffin looked exactly like my dad. The other was clearly a man too, but he was stunningly handsome. But both their faces were pale and lifeless. Not a trace of life. For some reason, he gave me a strange sense of familiarity. I looked at Mrs. Wong. My eyes were full of questions. Mrs. Wong's gaze fell on me. She moved closer, the black chains clanking harshly with her faltering steps. Child, do you know who he is? I shook my head. Who is he? He's a specimen your father made after draining him of his lifeblood. He's your father's twin brother. Your uncle. My eyes widened in disbelief. I had never heard my dad say he had a brother. As I recalled, we never seemed to have any relatives. During holidays, other families were filled with laughter, while our house was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. So my dad killed his own brother? Mrs. Wong nodded. Her eyes gradually turned red. Daisy, you don't know, but you're the one who resembles him the most. Mrs. Wong slowly recounted the memories that had been sealed away for years. By the end, the shock in my eyes grew deeper and deeper. I never thought. My uncle was Mrs. Wong's husband who had been dead for years. No wonder, when I was little, I always felt that Mrs. Wong's kindness towards me was different. She was always more affectionate with me than with other children. Mrs. Wong stroked my hair just like she did when I was a child, and the horrifying scars on her face seemed to be plated in a golden light. I gradually calmed down. The truth of the matter began to take shape in my mind. I lifted my head, my gaze firm. Mrs. Wong, what do you need me to do? Mrs. Wong's gaze was distant, as if she were looking through me at someone else. Child, I've been waiting for you for a long time. These past few years haven't been easy for you, have they? She struck a soft spot I had buried deep inside, and tears instantly started streaming down my face. I always thought you were gone. Thinking of that person, the coldness in my eyes intensified. That monster, how dare he kill my uncle, and kill you? Silly child, you know me. I'm not that easy to kill. That skin you were holding just now, that was mine. I want to tell you just one thing. Your father, Martin Song, is not a normal person. And your so-called mother, she's a 1,000-year-old rat demon. She's been relying on your father to capture people like us to nourish her lifeblood, which is why her appearance never changes. But their actions will eventually lead to a bad end. They have too much blood on their hands. They must die. As she said the last sentence, Mrs. Wong's eyes were filled with hatred. After hearing Mrs. Wong's story, I became even more determined to carry out my plan. In my remaining memories, Mrs. Wong died the year I turned 8. For his experiments, my dad skinned Mrs. Wong alive, and I thought she died 13 years ago. No, to be precise, she disappeared 13 years ago. Mrs. Wong's body had an unusually strong ability to heal. My dad discovered it. So my dad kept Mrs. Wong in the basement. To maintain my mom's looks, my dad had to draw Mrs. Wong's blood every day for nourishment. And Mrs. Wong's body has been sustained until now by drinking only nutrient solution. Mrs. Wong is the only person in my memory who was truly kind to me. Our villa was specially designed, only a Song family member's iris can open it. And Mrs. Wong, I heard, has been waiting here for me for a long time. When Mrs. Wong left, she took the beautiful face from my dad's box. The face looked beautiful on her. Like my uncle, she was a true beauty. As I was thinking, the display screen in the middle of the wall lit up. On the screen, my dad's iris suddenly appeared. Oh crap. I've been discovered. I cleaned up all traces of my visit to the secret room as quickly as possible. I went back to my room and pretended to be taking a nap. Downstairs, my dad was calling me. Daisy, Daisy, come out for a minute. I opened the door, rubbing my eyes, and asked in confusion, Dad, aren't you on a trip with Mom? Why are you back? Where are Mom and Alex? My dad ignored me, struggling to pull a suitcase. It looked very heavy. I tactfully went to help. Oof, so heavy. Dad, what's in here? My dad explained distractedly, it's nothing, just some rocks your mom picked up outside. She insisted I bring them back to keep in the house. Oh, I see. I helped Dad get the suitcase onto the elevator. Just as the elevator doors were about to close, I caught a glimpse of a red bloodstain on his pant leg. It was fresh, like it had just gotten there. Back in my room, I turned on my computer. My dad's figure slowly appeared on the screen. Then, from inside the black suitcase, a human head gradually became visible. Wavy chestnut hair, a red slip dress. A heavily made-up face appeared on the screen. The familiar scene played out again. The sharp blade was especially glaring under the light. A drop of blood splattered onto the screen. TSK, this blood is so dark. A familiar face gradually appeared in the video. The suitcase didn't contain rocks. It was Jessica. My dad had been eyeing her for a long time. Why else would he go into Jessica's room every night when my brother wasn't home? Next, my dad took out an exquisite instrument and a pair of gloves. Then he went to open the hidden door behind him. I was very curious, so I zoomed in to get a better look. My dad pushed out a coffin from inside. Stunningly beautiful. A woman who looked like Sleeping Beauty lay quietly inside. In the video, my dad began his work. He took out his specially made potion from a locked case nearby. He completely submerged the thing in his hands into it. Slowly, a layer of black foam bubbled up from the container. A strong, foul odor spread through the air. I could see the disgust in my father's eyes. Then he put on a mask. Why does it stink so much? He said with disgust. Ugh, looks like I'll be working overtime tonight. I was completely engrossed. Suddenly, my dad's eyes shifted direction and looked straight at where I had placed the micro camera. Our eyes met unexpectedly. At that moment, my computer screen suddenly went black. The familiar knocking sound started again. The moment my eyes met my dad's, I suddenly felt a tremor. That look in my dad's eyes, did he find me out? The knocking at the door continued. Dad is in the secret room, and the maids have all gone home for the day. So the knocking at the door. Who is it? I tentatively pitched my voice higher to ask, while turning on the water in the bathroom and quickly splashing my clothes with the faucet. Who is it? I'm in the shower, is something wrong? Knock, knock, knock. The knocking grew louder and louder. It sounded like a key was being inserted into the lock. I crouched down, a dog leash in my hand, and hid behind the door. Click. My breath caught. 1, 2, 3. Daisy, what's wrong with you? Why didn't you open the door? A familiar voice. It was my brother. I quickly put on a smile, casually moved aside, and tossed the chain into a corner. I looked at the sweat on my brother's forehead. I looked at him with confusion in my eyes. Alex, you're back too? And Jessica and Mom, where are they? My brother, however, looked at me searchingly. Daisy, did you go anywhere special today? My brother's eyes were full of inquiry, and my heart involuntarily tightened. I feigned a look of bewilderment. No, Alex. Alex touched his injured arm. Could it be that she wasn't the one who tampered with the car's brake system? He scanned me from head to toe. I remained blank. Right, Daisy is an idiot. All she knows is how to draw. She knows nothing about the family's business. She wouldn't have found out. How would an idiot know how to modify a brake system? I watched my brother's expression shift unpredictably. Then he said with a grave face, Daisy, we were in a car accident on the way. Mom's in the hospital. Tears instantly streamed down my face. Mom, how is she? Alex, take me to see Mom quickly. I grabbed my bag and rushed out. My anxious appearance seemed to slightly ease his suspicion. As a good, obedient daughter, it was absolutely necessary for me to visit my mother in the hospital. The crash was serious. The driver who caused it fled the scene, and for a rare few days, my dad didn't go to his secret room. But the way he looked at me grew stranger and stranger, like a predator who had locked onto its prey. I made soup, gave massages, served tea and water. I took care of my mom and made her comfortable. After my performance these past few days, my brother no longer suspected me. But my mom's leg was broken, and she had a long scar on her face that required more than 10 stitches. The doctor said the scar would be permanent. My dad spent the last few days searching every plastic surgeon, but with no results. The wound was too big. It could be repaired, but it was a challenge to do so without leaving a trace. My mom's face was her prized possession. She had always been obsessed with her beauty, and now that she was disfigured, it was like a knife twisting in her heart. My mom's temper grew more and more volatile. She had thrown and broken everything in the hospital room. But my dad hadn't come to see her even once. Jessica went missing in the car crash. Her family sent people to ask about her several times, but my brother sent them away. The young family never came back. My parents and brother acted as if she never existed. My brother found a new woman. My dad was engrossed in his thoughts about fixing my mom's face. I hadn't seen him in a long time. My brother was at home every day, living a life of debauchery. He became more and more unrestrained with me. The fake, overly caring act he used to put on was gone. But it doesn't matter. Soon he will disappear from my world. I took a breath of fresh air. After Jessica disappeared, no one cared what happened to her. Now the only person who might still think of her is probably me. My dad was incredibly busy. A doctor from abroad called, saying my mom's face could be saved. My dad booked plane tickets and rushed abroad with my mom without a moment's delay. I came home with the clothes my mom had changed out of. My brother was on the sofa, making out with a sexy woman. I walked in on them. Catching sight of me, my brother unhurriedly wiped his lips. The half-dressed beauty on the sofa was like a budding flower, looking about my age, now shyly hiding in my brother's arms. My gaze fell on the red wine glass in my brother's hand, and my eyes darkened. The woman's coquettish voice whined. "Alex, honey, is this the maid? Perfect. Now that she's here, can you have her clean up a room for me? I want to stay over tonight, can I?" The woman's eyes were full of affection. My brother planted a kiss on her lips. "No need to clean. You'll sleep in my room tonight." The woman giggled and playfully punched his chest. I tactfully started heading upstairs, making myself invisible. With a final glance, I looked at the woman in my brother's arms with pity. Amidst their soft kisses, I heard the woman mutter, "Ugh, why is she so ugly? You two look nothing alike. She doesn't look like she belongs in your family at all." I lowered my lashes. If I could choose, I would rather not have parents. In my dad's secret room, Jessica lay in the crystal tank my dad had prepared, covered in blood. She struggled like a trapped animal. Good, she still has some fight in her. Hearing footsteps, Jessica turned her head in pleasant surprise to look at me. But when she saw it was me, the light in her eyes quickly faded. "Why is it you? Daisy, what have you all done to me? Why am I locked in here? Where's Alex? Where is he? Why hasn't he come for me?" By the end, Jessica was screaming hoarsely. I just found it amusing. "You have so many questions. Which one should I answer first?" "Daisy, it was you. It was you, wasn't it?" My tone was cold. "Jessica, I told you not to marry into my family. But you didn't listen to me. You're the one who wanted to come. How can you blame me?" I held the blade in my hand, looking at her innocently. "Liar, you're all liars. You're crazy. Your whole family is insane." I moved closer and handed her a mirror. Sure enough, no woman can accept becoming an ugly freak. Especially not Jessica. Everything she once did to me, I'm going to repay her, bit by bit. The tip of the knife fell, and bright red plum blossoms bloomed on the floor. In the middle of the night, a strange rustling sound came from my room. Someone secretly opened my bedroom door. Ever since I was 8, I've had the habit of locking my door. The breathing by my bed was heavy, with a hint of gasping. The footsteps were heavy, slowly moving towards the head of my bed. I gripped the blade hidden in my hand tightly. But strangely, I had no strength. The stinging sensation in my arm, such a familiar feeling. In a half-awake state, I thought I heard, Can't draw any more out. TSK so useless. The next morning, I opened my eyes to find my mind a complete blank. A spot on my upper arm was particularly painful. I suddenly realized that last night, someone had injected me with something. I tried to sit up but felt a wave of dizziness. The full-length mirror next to me reflected my current appearance. Jaundiced eyes, pale lips, my whole face looking sickly, like I had lost too much blood. My parents weren't home, and my brother was the prime suspect. He's getting impatient. Since you're so eager to step up, don't blame me for what happens next. I went downstairs, pretending I knew nothing. My brother was already eating at the dining table. At my place at the table, there was a piece of bloody raw meat. I silently glanced at my brother. He had a look of pure enjoyment on his face, as if nothing was wrong. In fact, he was eating with extra gusto. Our maid, Mrs. Wong, handed me my utensils. She gave me a meaningful look. My brother looked up at me and said, "Daisy, Stacy is still sleeping. After you finish eating, go clean up my room. I don't trust anyone else to do it. Also, Stacy has a poor appetite and can't eat this stuff. Make her a nutritional meal later, the same kind you make for Mom." I lowered my lashes and obediently nodded. I know, Alex. My black-framed glasses hid the joy in my eyes. Ordinary people can't usually get into my brother's room, and the number of times I've been in his room can be counted on one hand. My brother is the most meticulous of them all. Otherwise, I wouldn't have spent years being tormented by him while playing dumb. My dad's attention is all on my mom. As for me, it seems only my blood can get him to care a little. My brother is different. I can act, but he's an even better actor. Ordinary methods won't work on him. But I discovered his hidden weakness. The first time I cooked for them, when I was 10, I mistook salt for sugar and put it in the soy milk. That morning, only my brother drank it with relish, while I spat it out after one sip. That's when I realized. He has no sense of taste. But my brother is very skilled with poisons. And I was his first test subject. He is too precise. Every step I've planned over the years has been like licking honey from the blade of a knife. My brother's bed is specially made. He has insomnia, and I bought this bed specifically for him. He relies heavily on this bed. But he doesn't know that the reason he sleeps so soundly is because something extra has been added to it. And over time, these substances will slowly seep into his body. Today is the final dose. The woman on the bed is still sleeping soundly. No sign of waking up. It seems she'll never wake up again. Sigh too weak. Mrs. Wong is a smart woman, but also ruthless enough. I heard her daughter was someone's mistress and had an abortion. I told her the man who hurt her daughter was right in front of her. And it worked. Today's breakfast was different. It was all my brother's favorite foods. The portions seemed larger too. Mrs. Wong and I exchanged a look, and we both smiled, a silent understanding between us. The third day. In the morning, I went to call my brother for breakfast as usual. I never knock more than 3 times. But this time, I knocked for 3 minutes. There was no movement from inside the room. I took off my glasses, unable to suppress the joy in my eyes. Mrs. Wong also came upstairs and brought the key. Sure enough, from my brother's bedroom, a foul, rotten smell hung in the air. It wouldn't dissipate. I pinched my nose and walked in. The poison had already seeped into his bones. I had prepared a full set of tools for the job. This game of cat and mouse has gone on long enough. It's time for it to end. My teacher used to say that the human body is the most perfect work of art. My eyes swept over my brother's perfect physique. My fingertips traced a line from his neck down to his waist. My brush fell, a mix of red and white, staining the gray bedsheets. The monotonous room instantly brightened. The brush swept across my brother's eyelashes. Right, my brother loved making works of art the most. How could I forget? Right, my brother's hands are also very beautiful. It would be a shame to throw them away. I happened to be missing one. In my dad's secret room, everything was a source of disaster. Those harmful things should never have existed in the first place. I lit the lighter. Thick smoke billowed. The moment the fire roared to life, I turned to the camera in the center and gave it a big, wide smile. On the other side of the lens was my dear father. At this moment, his crazed eyes were staring at me. Then the roar of the airplane, plunging from the clouds. Goodbye. Oh no, I mean farewell forever. After it was all over, I got a call from Mrs. Wong. She sounded to be in a very good mood. Daisy, everything went smoothly. You need to take care of yourself. I'm going to see the world for your uncle. Look after yourself, and I'll come back to see you when I have time. I gave a genuine smile. The car window rolled down, and I put on the beautiful skin mask I had made myself. As for the ugly mask, I threw it out the window without a second thought. Daisy. I am free. My name is Daisy. I was born into an ancient family. The people in my family have spent their lives pursuing immortality. But after countless experiments, only my uncle achieved it. He achieved true eternal youth. But his hidden secret was discovered by my parents. My dad poisoned my uncle's food. Later, they extracted the gene for immortality from his body. And they discovered that my blood was the perfect catalyst. They raised me like an animal until I was old enough to remember. Then they started putting on an act for me, making me willingly give them my blood. They began to train me, trying to turn me into an obedient, compliant blood bank. Ever since I can remember, I realized my family was different. My mom is a beauty. My dad is a beauty. So is my brother. It seems like I'm the only one in my family who isn't beautiful. My face is covered in ugly scars. Everywhere I go, the whispers follow. Even when I changed schools, the bullying never stopped. In the 7th grade, I met my brother's girlfriend, Jessica. She was smiling happily, nestled in my brother's arms. As a young girl, I didn't know what they were doing. My mind was a blank slate when it came to things between men and women. I only know that after school that day, my brother had a talk with me. He said he wanted me to meet a friend, someone very important to him. So I went. On the surface, she smiled generously and kindly, treating me with great care. When my brother went to the bathroom, it was just me and Jessica. I put on a sweet smile, trying to be friendly. I offered her my most precious chocolate. But under the table, she secretly pinched my thigh and told me to get away from her. She said I was an ugly freak, not worthy of sitting with her. From then on, through middle school and high school, her presence was everywhere. And she was the ringleader of my bullies. I used to doubt myself, wonder why no one liked me, even though I was the victim. The scars on my face became the weapon others used to attack me, until I found his diary in my brother's room. That's when I discovered just how terrifying my family was. The diary clearly recorded every person my brother had harmed. Flipping through the familiar photos, one after another, a chill ran down my spine. The first one. Wednesday. Daisy went to school. Great, I can finally stop pretending. The neighbor's cat is so cute. I wonder if Daisy would like it? That night, on my bedside table, was a cat, lying peacefully dead. It had a ribbon tied around it, my brother's signature style. His usual prank. Just because I had once fed that cat a sausage. So my brother killed it. Thursday morning, sunny. Mom and Dad went to catch little ghosts again. So boring. And they won't take me. What's so interesting about watching that little brat? Making models is much more fun. The next night, an eyeball had been turned into a flower art piece by my brother. It belonged to Lily. She was the only girl at school who had ever shown me kindness. After that, I had nightmares frequently. I had insomnia for a year. And my brother found it amusing. Saturday afternoon, overcast. I hate overcast days. But I found a new toy, Jessica. A beautiful rose with thorns. I hear she goes to the same school as the brat. Then she'll do. After he and Jessica started dating, my status at school went from being an invisible nobody to the target of everyone's bullying. And Jessica was the queen bee of the bullies. As they beat me black and blue, I saw Jessica showing my brother pictures of my battered face, trying to win his approval. The next scene was the two of them getting hot and heavy. From that moment on, I meticulously wove a web, and they were all just beasts trapped within it. My parents will never know that the plane they were on was specially modified by someone I hired. A plane that was guaranteed to have an accident. And the owner of this plane had already been dead for a month. Their deaths could only be ruled an accident. But such a simple death is not what Martin Song deserves. As expected, he is now having his lifeblood drained by Mrs. Wang to feed her beautiful man-eating flowers. And my dear brother, he will never know that when he snuck into my room to molest me, the person lying in the bed was not me. It was his dearest mother. I secretly sent a video of all this to my dad. The woman he loved most was being molested by his own son. Sure enough, he was more ruthless than I was. He personally castrated his own son. Alex became a permanent eunuch, and the person who spent day and night with him, satisfying his inhuman desires, was hired by me. The red wine he drank was poisoned by me. He will sleep forever, and eventually die from his illness, disfigured beyond recognition. He thought I didn't know that the skin on my face was scarred because he accidentally burned me when we were playing as kids. It could have been healed, but he thought I was becoming too beautiful. So he secretly replaced my healing ointment with a corrosive chemical. My father will never know that the niece he always thought was as timid as a mouse and as stupid as a pig would one day discover his secret and personally send him to hell. The end.